Good morning, everyone. I am again recording on the same day that I will be posting. It's just not at my 6 a.m. time. That's why it's important that you click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified. I am kind of random right now. I'm not organized enough to have a daily posting. I had to work yesterday and I didn't have time to get a video posted. I do have my coffee because I have a table. I'm a little bit high on that. There we go. So I'm seated in a nice chair outside. It's still beautiful outside. My swing that I normally sit in is up here to the left, but I don't have a table. And I need to do stuff. I have my laptop in front of me so I can read from that. Life is good as we go through these next few weeks of extremely high watch. Everybody's saying that the rapture is this month, or at latest next month. You know, they're all doing that. They're going, if it's not, they have to go back to the drawing board and figure out where they went wrong. Now, it's hard to predict the exact date because there's date issues. Barry just came out with another brother's video. I forget, his name is Green. I forget who he is. I don't have it up here. The bottom line is, and I know all this anyway, pretty much, that the dates are potentially off because of all the calendar differences that we have. So, the Feast of Trumpets coming up may not be on the 15th and 16th. They might be 3 or 4 or 5 days later. If we're talking about earthly days, it doesn't matter. If the rapture is that close that we're just squabbling over days, you need to be ready for whatever date. It doesn't matter. And if this isn't it, back to the drawing board. But this is the time. The only feast that hasn't been fulfilled is the Feast of Trumpets on earth. Pretty much everything else has been fulfilled by Jesus. The Feast of Trumpets is still remaining to be filled. And he will blow a loud trump. And when that happens, we will be caught up. Harpazo, caught up. In Latin, rapturo, or rapture. The word rapture is not in the English Bible, it's only in the Latin Bible. Okay, so as we get to that point, we want to be able to say the same thing that Paul did. When Paul was approaching the end of his days, he knew it. He was old. He said, we're going to go to 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. I hope we can all say that. Now, the way we fight's different. The way we run is different. If you're running on earth, there is an advantage to running. When you run a race, I don't run anymore because of my knees. But the last thing I did before my knee surgery, 3 days before my knee surgery, I ran a 5K. Now my time wasn't the best, but I completed it because I was hobbling a little bit towards the end. And with my knee problem, there was a slight incline going to the final part of it. I couldn't run up it because my knee was wanting to bend backwards, which is what the problem was when my surgery replaced it. I actually ran the last 50 to 75 yards backwards because I couldn't run forward. I couldn't even walk forward. The part of stepping up was bending my knee backwards and it was hurting too much. I ran it backwards. Still got there, finished the race. Now, I haven't run since then, not to that degree. I've run, 100-yard, not dashes, but bits at a time. I'm back. Sorry, I had to sneeze, and I know when I can feel them when they're coming on. There's going to be 2 or 3. I'm spending a lot of time indoors now. I did work yesterday on the court TV thing, and so I'm inside in air conditioning. And then when I finally do come back outside, it hits me. My nose right now is still thinking about sneezing, but I'm not. I've already gotten that out of my system, I hope. Hope and pray. All right, so when you're running, there's something called the runner's high. I don't know if I have any other runners with me here on the channel, but long distance runners. Short distance runners, you can feel it a little bit, but the long distance runners, because you're running for such a long time, your body has a chance to kick in. I've gone out there and started off running, and it's just like, I don't want to do this, but I'm forcing myself. Which is why if you're hiring people, long distance runners and athletes in general are some people that are great to hire from the point of view of endurance and being able to work through things. They're good employees. Anyhow, when you run for a long period of time, you get this runner's high. Your body kicks in the pituitary gland, and you start producing endorphins. Where did I put my glasses? There they are. I have to read. Oh, before I look at that, what I want to do is, I tell people all the time, my choice on Bibles, and everybody says, well, I read this one, and I read this one, and, you read what you're comfortable with. If you're going to study the words and drill down into the words, you have to have a word-for-word translation. So you got to be careful in reading other translations which are translating into understandable English. And, the Living Bible translation, that's a English translation. You're not going to get necessarily word for word, but I wanted to show you, I go to a site called BibleHub.com on my laptop when I'm trying to look up verses, and it gives you all the verses in each translation. I start off with the New International Version. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Well, New International says that. The Living Translation changes a little bit. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have remained faithful. Kept the faith, remained faithful. They mean the same thing, so don't get too, upset about using different versions. Most of the time you're going to find this, just like this. It's going to vary the words, and the English Standard, the Berean Standard, the King James, the New King James, all use the same sentence structure and words. The New American Standard Bible says, I have finished the course, as opposed to the race. See, there's very little difference in the translations. Now, this is a simple verse. There's not a whole lot to mess up on. There's other places where they may go a little bit further on words. It doesn't matter what version you're using if you're just reading and you're trying to get context into your brain. This is the Word. The Word will never change. The heavens and the earth may change, but the Word will never change. So if you want to read, pick a Bible. It doesn't matter. If it's the same Bible with the same number of books, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're talking about running high, and endorphins. I am reading from the Harvard Medical School page, health.harvard.edu. Endorphins can also release stress and create a feeling of well-being. Thus the runner's high. Now, I don't do drugs at all. never have. Well, when I was in the Navy, I was part of a marijuana test program, and I found out I'm allergic to the TCP, whatever the drug is, and I got kicked out of it within a week. That was it. I went over there because they were giving everybody steak dinners. I didn't care about the drug, but I couldn't do it because I'm allergic to it. So I basically don't do any drugs at all, except for I used to drink alcohol. And I may, on occasion, still have a social drink to not be rude. The social occurrences maybe once or twice a year. But in general, I don't drink. So I don't really do drugs at all. I don't need to. I have this one here. Now, hiking, I can still get, to the point where I can feel these endorphins kick in. I just have to watch my knee. So, endorphins are the body's natural, I'm continuing to read on their website. Endorphins are the body's natural painkillers. Endorphins are released by the hypothalamus and pituitary gland in response to pain or stress. God built this body. We didn't grow out of the sea by random chance. God built this body, and He built it self-sufficient. It's got what it needs. This group of peptide hormones both release pains and creates a general feeling of well-being. The name of the hormones comes from the term endogenous morphine. So it's like a morphine drug because it mimics it. Endogenous because they are produced in our bodies, and morphine refers to the opioid painkiller whose actions they mimic. So it's like taking morphine. I don't know if you've ever been in a hospital where you've been given morphine. I have, and it makes you feel good. It eliminates the pain from surgery or whatever, and you feel good. And the more pain you've got, the more morphine you may have to take. About 20 different types of endorphins exist. The best studied of these is beta endorphin, which is the one associated with the runner's high, like we talked about. We also release endorphins when we laugh. Laughter is the best medicine. Fall in love, have sex, and even enjoy a delicious meal. So, endorphins make us feel good. You want to feel good? Do something. Put your body in a form of either enjoyment or stress, something to do this. We know that there are people that like to, they're winter people, I guess, they like to jump in icy water. In the lakes, they cut a hole in the ice and they jump in. Do this properly so that you don't get hurt. And don't stress yourself like this unless you know you're in good shape. But they do this because it forces the body into an immediate endorphin release, and they get this big high from it. Yeah, I've got nut trees around me, and you may hear those fall on the roof next to me. So anyhow, he ran the race. He's feeling good. He knew he was at the end. He finished. We're coming up on the end. This is a high watch time. All of the watchers right now are nervously ecstatic that we may be coming up on a pre-trib rapture. I'm not saying yes or no, but I agree that if we've got any of our calculations right, we're coming up on what would be the best time of the season. Again, like I say, we're in the Gentile age. The rapture is not tied to, my hair's going to bother me, isn't it? Is not tied to a Jewish festival or holiday. But as soon as we're gone, the 70th week will start. Either start or start back up, depending on your belief system. And when it does, we know what's coming. There's lots of bad things coming. The Christians will be gone. There are 3 books: the book of life, the in-between, in the book of death. When we get to the end, there can't be anybody in the book of in-between. They're either life or death, the goats and the sheep. Okay? So God is working on the in-between. We're familiar with that in this country when we have an election. We have the far right, the far left, and we have the in-between. The in-between are the ones they're campaigning for. Because the far right stays pretty much, and when I say far right, I mean basically anybody in the right, anybody in the left. The middle is the, I haven't decided yet. That's who they're campaigning for. Now, I frankly don't think we're going to have an election. If we have a rapture, that is a major, extreme major event worldwide. It's like having a level 10 earthquake someplace. It will change things forever. If we have a rapture between now and the next election, it will change things. It will give the enemy impetus and encouragement to continue on with their plan. Because then they will know they're running out of time. So if we have a rapture, there won't be an election. I guarantee it. Or if it is, it will be so rigged, but because there's nobody to really call them out. We're almost to that point now, even without a rapture. But I think that it will create such a chaos in the world that it may be the trigger for everything that we've been waiting for the money collapse, for all the other things, the beast system to be fully in place. Now, the beast system is the forerunner to the Antichrist. The Antichrist will take over a working beast system. It may not be complete. He may have to complete it, but it will be his domain to run. He will bring peace. There's a peace plan that they're trying to get finished right now. It's already in place, but it needs to be finished. Don't have all the countries yet. They don't have a temple yet. The Antichrist is going to be so charismatic and friends with both Christians and Jews that he will unite the countries around him to the point that they will allow the building of the temple on the Temple Mount. And they're ready to go. They've got the plans, the material, all the things to furnish it. It's all ready. They don't have to build the outer court. In fact, they're told not to. John was told to measure the actual temple. And don't worry about the outer court because it's inhabited by Gentiles. And from God's point of view, Muslims are Gentiles to a degree. Yes, they're part of the chosen people. That's one of the reasons that they're there along with the Jews. But they don't accept Christ. Not as the Savior. They expect him to come back and lead them into worldwide victory. They will soon be surprised when that doesn't happen. So we're in extremely high watch time, starting in about a week. Rosh Hashanah is on the 15th. The Feast of Trumpets, it's their new year. The actual literal translation is head of the year. So that's their celebration. We celebrate New Year's in the United States on December 31st over the course of the evening into the next day on the 1st, which is actually New Year's Day. So the same thing with Rosh Hashanah. We got 15th through 17th basically. A lot of the Jewish holidays have an extra day or 2 or 3 added onto it because you couldn't get the message out back then and nobody wanted to miss these important days, so they extended them so that eventually you would hear they're celebrating it in Jerusalem. I guess we should go ahead and celebrate it now too. So they didn't want to miss it. It is important for them. It's important for us. So you need to be ready this month, extremely ready this month. You need to say your prayers daily. We're told that anyway. These are things that you should be doing daily anyway. But if you've been slacking off, backsliding, figuring out I'll catch up on it later, there may not be any time for you to catch up on it later. School bus going by. That's how early it is. Did I slouch down or did my camera move? Have your lamps filled, as we're told. Figurative language, but basically meaning being ready. The bride and the bridesmaids had to be ready because typically the bridegroom would get the message from the father saying, okay, let's go get your bride. And they would go out in the street blowing trumpets and go get the bride at night. Before the Wrath is a good example, movie, of how that works. It may not directly relate to Jesus coming to get his bride, but it's a good storyline that shows you, like I said before, I don't visualize anything. I don't dream consciously. I occasionally may wake up and get, that much of a dream that I'm dreaming in black and white, and then I soon forget it. And that's rare when I do have a dream that I realize I'm dreaming. I'm usually sick, deliriously sick, fever, whatever, and then I can get a dream. Probably one of the reasons that God wants us to fast. Put our body in a stressful situation, get our endorphins, open up our channel, and then he can talk to us. We have to do a lot of prayer and fasting to talk to God directly if you want to. I'm sure that John didn't see his visions. It was prayer time there. He would have been fasting. All right. To make sure that you're ready, do all the things that you know you should be doing. If you've been slacking off, don't. We still have a judgment seat. It's the Bema seat. It's not the white throne judgment, it's the Bema seat. We want to go there ready. It's a report card seat. It's not a you go into heaven or hell seat. That's the white throne judgment. We're already going to heaven as Christians. But we're going to get reviewed. How did you do with your life? Did you do the things that I asked you to do? It's better to have something on there with a grade than nothing at all. Here's your report card, a blank piece of paper. You didn't do anything for me in your entire life, but you're here because you accepted Jesus. Not a good epitaph. And we get crowns for things that we do. I don't know that we wear them around and flaunt them, but we get crowns. You get a crown for getting there. But there's other crowns that you can get for things that you may have done. Helping bring somebody to the Lord can get you a crown. Now, I don't know, do we have a table or shelf in our mansion that God's allowing Jesus to create for us? We can put our crowns up on there? I don't know. What do we get? Do we get first in line for chow? I know I'm being a little bit funny on this, but I have a sense of humor. God gave it to me. And he has one too because he created me. And you. If you have a sense of humor, it's from God. Use it. And laughter can create endorphins. Make you feel better. All right. Dr. Barriaw has a new video out. It came out yesterday, going over the timeline, and where he also mentions, let me see if I have this over here where I can find it. Okay, I am on YouTube, which I've increased my videos during this time. on YouTube. Because I have so many of you still here, and it's not growing fast over on Rumble. It's a hard interface to work sometimes. YouTube has been out for a long time. They've got it perfected. And they're still filtering me. But if I can reach more people, I will continue to do what I'm doing. And I figured out the right setting for Rumble. Anyhow, the website is Ty Green, Tygreen, on YouTube. When is the Feast of Trumpets in 2023 is the title. And this is the video that was referenced by Dr. Barry Ah on YouTube. He's saying here, heads up eternal family, the 15th is not Rosh Hashanah, like we've been saying for the last 3 months. The true Feast of Trumpets lines up exactly with the strengthening of the 7-year covenant with many on the 18th and 19th of September. Okay, so just be open. Just be open. God might choose to use our incorrect calendar. He might choose to use the corrected version. He may not even use the calendar. He may just come up with his own timeline that he uses for the rapture. Now, when it comes to the Jewish feasts, he will use the calendar. So our rapture could be any time. It doesn't have to happen on the Feast of Trumpets. But it seems logical that it would, because he comes to the earth with a trump, the voice of an archangel. Could be. And the word is harpazo. There really is a caught up word in the Bible. Again, rapture is Latin for harpazo, or caught up. People try to find all kinds of ways to put down Bible teaching, to tell us that God doesn't care about us. He's not coming back. We're going to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Little Shakespeare. We're not going through the wrath. We're not subject to wrath. We have the Spirit of God in us. We're in the way. So that's why Christians, true Christians, have to be raptured out. There are going to be a number of close, but no cigar Christians. There's enough offshoots of Christianity in different versions that are not going to make the rapture. They're going to believe they're Christians because they've been taught that you get there by doing all these works. You can't get there by doing works. If you could get there by doing works, Jesus' whole message is wasted. He didn't have to come here. We could get to heaven by doing works. Now, that's Satan's lie. Because if he can keep you busy, you won't have time to notice where you're wrong. You only get to heaven by accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You don't even have to fully have time to repent. The thief on the cross didn't have any time to do anything. He didn't get baptized. He didn't go around passing tracts out. He didn't help feed the hungry. And he was a thief. That's why he was there. But he believed in Jesus. The other thief didn't. So accept Jesus now, before it's too late if you don't know him personally. It's the only way to get to heaven. All the other religions, they teach you how to be good and do things on earth. But this isn't our home. You will come short of what you need to get to heaven. Whereas just accepting a simple gift is all you need. I'm getting a reflection on the glass on my phone. It was lining up with my hair, and it looked like I had bright red hair. Well, I used to have stronger red hair when I was younger. That's long gone. All right. Accept Jesus Christ. It's the only way. And if you're a Christian, tell others to do the same thing, because it is the only way. You will be ridiculed and rejected by most. Jesus was, so don't feel special. But he didn't stop. Paul didn't stop. Paul finished the race. You do the same thing. Until we meet in the clouds, hopefully very soon.